and real estate agents didn't know what I was talking about. um, I mean, escape rooms weren't really a thing. Like they were maybe like a year or two old in Melbourne. And there were only a few. Like there were not many of us at that time. So even they weren't that well known. Like there was buzz around it amongst certain networks, but the average person didn't know what an escape room was. Um, so there was kind of this two-pronged challenge with real estate agents of first they would see that like, oh, here's this like 19-year-old kid fresh out of school, and they'd be like, okay, like I don't even know if like they don't even know if they should give me time. And the other thing was then they didn't understand what I was talking about. When I was like, well, it's gonna be this game that you're inside, and it's like a movie or a video game, but you're physically inside it, and it's not an escape room if you even know what an escape room is, but it's like that. um, yeah, that was definitely difficult. I mean, like I did check out spaces and rental spaces. I think it also took time to find a good one. So I'm not sure if I actually got rejected or I'm not sure if I got rejected, but definitely some real estate agents weren't great to deal with and probably weren't that friendly when they saw me.
So you
that,
already had that bad start if you were going to go there type thing?
yeah, so that was definitely what I don't know if that was the biggest hurdle, but that was a big hurdle, especially in terms of time. So I came back from traveling on my gap year end of 2014 or started 2015, and then I immediately started looking for a lease. Um, and then it actually, well, I didn't know how long it would take because I kept getting knocked back. So I just thought I'd go to uni for I thought I'd go for uni until I found a lease. And then that took 6 months. So then I deferred uni and started building, I guess. And that would have been, yeah, mid 2015, actually got the lease. And then March 2016 is when it actually opened the first deep space.
Wow, 6 years. It somehow feels both less and more at the same time.
Yeah, I definitely feel that lesson more. I feel like maybe COVID. Maybe COVID is just this chunk in the middle that's
Actually,
like,
yeah, that's a
have
good point.
2
COVID really
years
makes
and a bit where you can't do that much.
Yeah, COVID definitely has changed like my concept of time.
Totally.
Yeah. I think because I think, oh, 6 years should have done more by now. But then it's also like, well, COVID took away a large chunk. Yeah.
When did Crawling Prince? Where did the idea come from? Like, what point was that? What was the origin of that?
Yeah. So Origin for, I guess maybe I'll start with Origin for Deep Space.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So oh yeah, you've all done Deep Space, you've all done Crumbling Prince. Deep Space. Deep Space is less my like vibe, but it was also the best place to kind of test my ideas. So my main idea was, how do we create a game where there is a character in it, like a character in it that you interact with, and what were my goals? My goals are people forget they're in the game, and people can have some kind of emotional interaction with the character, like feel that they're kind of emotionally real, or even interact with the character, whether they cry or they scream or they argue or whatever. Just feel that this character in this game is real. Those are kind of my two main goals. I felt like a sci-fi where the actual character is an AI would be the easiest way to test that. So that's kind of where the first character came from, and that would have been when I was in high school still. Actually, I hadn't played any escape rooms at that time either. I just knew escape rooms were a thing, so I thought that, well, a game that you're physically inside was then possible in terms of like a business market. Like there were people who actually wanted to do that. So I was drawing on old ideas I had, but the fact that escape rooms existed were more like a guideline that, oh, it actually was possible. Like people would actually come. Because I didn't actually play any escape rooms until first made Deep Space, until after it was released. And even then, I probably only played like 3. The Crumbling Prince, I feel like the Crumbling Prince came when I was on the packaging line. So the first few years of Deep Space and obviously starting the business are actually quite difficult. as kind of any, I guess, business venture is difficult. So, I took loans for it. I had a bit of debt. There's still are loans for it actually, but had loans for it. And then was working a bunch to pay my rent because I've had the lease from about June, July 2015 and only opened March 2016. The few months of rent free only covered a little portion of that. And I thought it'd be open, in a few months. You kind of idealize how things will work out. So then I was kind of freaking out with the rental payments. So I was working a few jobs at the same time as trying to start the business. And one of them was on the packaging line of Hydrolite. I don't know if everyone knows Hydrolite.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So pharmaceutical, like rehydration, whatever. My dad worked for Hydrolite, so I was like, well, I'll just jump on the packaging line here. And because it's really like it doesn't take you long to be like, okay, I get the work. It's kind of like mindless work, you're testing quality on the packaging line, you're putting into boxes, whatever. But it's kind of mindless work. Which was really good at the time because it meant I could spend a lot of time thinking about the creative stuff and the business and how things would go down. So it was actually really helpful. And Crumbling Prince started more off as this idea where there was just like this mysterious kind of curiosity shop. Um, Ways to explain it. In Hal's Moving Castle, I don't know, Hal's got this room where there's just all this random junk in the room. That it was kind of a mix of that and I don't know if anyone's played Majora's Mask, but in Majora's Mask there is this curiosity shop that opens at like 1 hour every night from like 10 p.m. to 11 p.m., it's like this black market thing, but I was a kid, so I just thought it was such a cool thing. Like, here's this random curiosity shop that opens at weird hours, and didn't really get that it was a black market thing. So I kind of thought, well, what if there's this mysterious shop with all these artifacts from different worlds, and then there's this character in there who is called the Crumbling Prince, who's like this scarecrow in the shop that you talk to. And I guess the Crumbling Prince, that came from Japanese folklore. He's like one of the oldest I think it comes from like one of the oldest pieces of literature in Japan, and it's a very small paragraph about the Crumbling Prince, who is this kind of demigod scarecrow who is kind of really wise and knows everything under the heavens, but he can't move, so he kind of just watches over the rice paddies. That's kind of his vibe. So that was kind of the first, I don't know, idea. And then it evolved from there. I mean, I could probably go on for ages how it evolved, but